Hey, David Wygant, showing much appreciation. I got to give my few viewers that are still out there thumbs up. I appreciate you sticking with me because I vanished for a long time. I vanished because I think we all need to vanish. I think we all need to take time away from whatever we were doing in order to reincarnate as a new, powerful version of self. I think a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people go on and they do the same things day in and day out and they don't ever take a break. People go from one relationship to the next. People go from one job to the next. People go from one house to the next house. People go from one day to the next day without ever taking accountability. So, all of you out there, I appreciate you. I appreciate the ones that are watching still. And like I said, I'll just keep flooding with really good trading life growth, spirituality, and I've got a really cool guy on right now. There's something called Psych, and it's a new form of modality. It's a modality that was, I guess, Bruce Lipton was one of the people that really developed it on a deeper level. But it allows you to have breakthroughs that you wouldn't normally have with endless amounts of therapy. Like all of a sudden you get to the good part of the therapy, and you're at 50 minutes, and the therapist looks at you and goes, "All right, I'll see you next Wednesday." Okay, great. Next Wednesday. Wonderful. Wonderful. We just finally opened up and I'm finally where I want to be. And then we got to start all over again Wednesday. So I've got somebody who I did a session with, and it was pretty cool. I got to tell you, before I introduce Ron, my session was interesting. It appears that I've been dragging along my parents. I also, Ron, which I didn't talk about, is that I've also probably been dragging my brother who passed away along with them as well. So it's amazing how much room I had for myself. Pretty much none, because I was just basically hanging out with my dead mom, dead brother, dead grandparents. It was getting really crowded inside my head. And the problem was their programming was controlling certain blocks that I was having. So I looked around and Ron called me back and we did a really neat session. And I'm going to have Ron tell you a little bit about what Psych is, what it's all about, and how you can get through blocks. So, welcome, Ron.
Thanks for having me, David.
You're welcome.
So, in terms of what Psych is, first of all, it was created by Rob Williams. Bruce,
Ah,
yeah, Bruce Lipton has been very impressed with the results that he's received from Psych. So, he's been a real proponent of Psych. It even helped him write his book, Biology of Belief.
oh, wow.
So, it really was a major catalyst in him writing that book. And it's interesting because Bruce Lipton is a cell biologist, and he knows through the science of epigenetics that our thoughts can change even the cells in our body. It can change our life um, just by the way we think. So anyway, getting back to myself and Psych, I was a traditional psychotherapist, and I thought I was pretty good at what I did. I was doing it for about 30 years, had a lot of experience, but then I was introduced to Psych, and the difference, the results that I were getting from my clients was huge, the difference altogether. So I couldn't ignore it. All of a sudden, I realized that there are other modalities out there that are very powerful that can help us change on a very deep level. The reason for that is most traditional therapy is cognitive in nature, works with the conscious mind. But Psych and other modalities like Psych work with the subconscious mind. Research shows about 95% of our behavior is driven by the subconscious mind. So if you want to make real change, you got to do it on that level. So all of a sudden, I had a captive audience because I had an active client load. I was working at a VA hospital with veterans with severe emotional issues, and the results I was getting was just profound. People were able to release the emotional charge from the traumas of their past. So then all of a sudden they could start sleeping at night, or their migraine headaches would just went away. They didn't have any anymore. Um, they didn't react to loud noises. So I just had to leave traditional therapy behind and move on to committing myself to alternative therapies. It's kind of it was my time to kind of step back, take a break, and move on to something different. So now I do all of my work online. My practice covers people around the world, and it's so rewarding. The reality is, before, if I would have continued on a traditional level, I'd be retired and I wouldn't be doing anything right now. But it brings me so much meaning and is so rewarding for me to be able to help other people that I just can't stop doing this stuff. And I can't stop changing myself because
That was my
people are,
next question. So
yeah, right.
you got it. You got it. Keep going.
Yeah. So the reality was that I use these tools on myself. And as I changed, the world around me changed. Now, I've heard things like that before, like, oh, you create your own reality and so on and so forth. But what I didn't realize is we actually create our own reality primarily on a subconscious level. So there are a lot of successful business people, for example, who use affirmations, they do visualizations and so on. And they're successful to some degree. But to make some really huge, big changes, we have to go after what's on a subconscious level, because it's like trying to look at life and the world through a dirty window. If the window's covered in all kinds of fear and worry and self-doubt, hard for us to see the truth behind it all. We're all amazing beings underneath. Basically, what this Psych does and other modalities is help us discover our true self. And I just love helping people do that, but also doing it in myself, because each day as I change, my world changes, my life changes.
It's interesting. We talked about trust, and I've always, which is really interesting, it's like in my business ventures that I've had, I would always, there was an exercise that I would do. I would be what, let's say, for instance, when I owned a bar, okay, I went from being a bartender, actor in New York City to all of a sudden just taking on a new role. I played the role of a bar owner now, right?
Yes.
I remember when I moved to Colorado, I was buying and selling foreclosures. I knew nothing about it. I took a infomercial course, and I figured it out. And I was a real estate investor, even though I only had about an hour of experience, right? After going through the course, I believed I was a real estate investor, and I was fearless at it. And I knocked on people's doors and got them to sign their homes over, and I learned the game. And when I opened up a car lot, it was the same thing. I went from real estate investor to a car guy. And I remember I was in the Denver airport, and I said to myself, I really need to become a car guy. So that's what I did that week. And I practiced being a car guy, even though I never really did anything with cars. And I did that. And then I played that role. And then I played the role of a dating coach for 20 something years, and I mean, I fought that role. And this is interesting. I really didn't like that. First, from probably 2000 to 2005, I couldn't stand it. I thought, God, I was this freak that went to parties that, just, I'm a date coach. Oh God, people say like, oh, losers must come to you. And I'm thinking like, no, not really. Pretty cool people come to me to grow, but I didn't like the subject of dating that much. I like the subject of personal empowerment and development. And once I embraced that character, right, the money rolled in.
Yeah.
And now trading, came about, and it's a harder business, the hardest business to ever learn that I've ever done, right? And I still haven't fully embraced that character because I had all that subconscious programming that led to the programming that you and I shared about, and I can share with people here so they can understand it. My father wasn't successful in the stock market at all, and was always stressed out paying bills. And my mother always said, you don't make money in the market. Dad never makes money in the market. So I still, to this day, I hate going long. It's like today was great. I got to go short. I'm so happy. I'm so much more relaxed. I'm relaxed because I know that stock is losing money and I'm gaining money and I'm working through these blocks. But the biggest thing is that the character is not fully developed yet. And until the character of you is fully developed, and until you fully embrace the amazingness of you, and you understand that every character that you become, some of them may show up some nasty blocks. If you don't get rid of those blocks, that character can't come through.
That's correct. And that's a great example of how things from our past can get in the way of who we want to be now. On a subconscious level, one of the unique characteristics of the subconscious mind is that it doesn't know time. So all of that programming is still there running in the background.
It's like a dog.
Yeah, just won't let go. And no matter how much cognitive therapy you go to try to change that, it's not going to change it. You have to know how to change things on a subconscious level. The good news is pretty darn easy to do, and pretty effective and efficient in the process. So it's not like you have to go on to therapy for the rest of your life or anything. And because I worked on myself so much, I've become very intuitive. I didn't think of myself as an intuitive person, but as I cleared those layers away, subconscious layers away, all of a sudden the intuitive stuff started to come to the surface. Well, that's in all of us, right? We all are amazing beings. We all have that ability to play this role or play that role, be the person we want to be. We just have to clear that stuff out that's in the way.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes clearing it out takes a little bit longer than we think, and it's funny. I do so, as you know, I do so many meditations. And sometimes I listen to them and go, how come I can't remember some of this stuff in the heat of the battle? And I should remember it because I can recite it when I'm calm and there's no market going. I could tell you exactly, I close my eyes like I'm closing right now. I can describe a chart. I can describe where the entry should be. I describe how I should switch to the higher time frame. I mean, I can do everything. But in the heat of the battle, you're still battling as a human being, your subconscious.
Yeah.
So you may hear, and it's another thing that it's interesting. My grandmother's voice came in, sometimes, right? Oh, you'll never amount to something. You're not your cousin Joel. And even though I amounted to lots of different things, it's just until you shake it all off, and you have to be kind to yourself, until you shake it all off, it's going to come up and you have to be very aware of it because you have to apply the principles. And one word, not my parents, always works great, because it allows you to realize, well, I'm not them, I'm me. What am I? And then all of a sudden you want to, what I've been doing, right, is defining my future self. So I have new audios that I've done since you and I spoke, which is defining the future version of myself. I'm a killer trader, I'm a balls to the walls trader. I am somebody who takes his trades and sits back in his chair and relaxes. And you know what? Today I sat back in my chair and relaxed. And I made one mistake. I should have left shares in because, on the 5 and the 15-minute chart, which higher time frame, I had about $2 more or $3 more of that move going. But I was kind to myself and go, wait a second. All right. I was calm. I was this, check, 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 check. Right. I was relaxed. Okay. I missed a step. That's okay. Because we're going to miss steps in life, because life is a beautiful journey where we learn every single day. And it just doesn't all come together because you want it to come together. It only comes together when you're more self-aware. And I think that's what really Psych does, is it makes you very more self-aware of who you are, more accepting of who you are, and realizing that who you are is the future, not what you've been or what's been holding you back.
Yes. All of this is really based in neuroscience. They can put electrodes on your brain nowadays, and they can show you where your thoughts are firing. So you think of chocolate ice cream, for example, and they say, oh, okay, chocolate ice cream firing over here in your brain. Well, they're like highways, these neural pathways, and they get entrenched. They keep firing the same way over and over again. You know, when you think of money, there's a neural pathway around money in your brain, right? And so for a lot of people, that neural pathway is not very positive. And so this modality like Psych comes along and it gives us a way to easily change those neural pathways. So that's pretty exciting. We can change things on a subconscious level, and they can show you that on a real electrical level in your brain, things really are changing in terms of how you think. And then the most amazing thing after that is, as those things change, our life reflects back to us the change we've just made. So we're powerful beings. We create our own reality all the time, but most of the time we're creating it from a subconscious level. So now we have the opportunity to go in, change what's on a subconscious level, make it positive, and then positive things start showing up in our lives. And
It's
I say
amazing.
that with enthusiasm because I've witnessed it. I've experienced it myself. I see it in other people. So, wow, life is amazing. We're amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're pretty amazing. We're really amazing beings when we allow ourselves and then we look at ourselves and realize the repetition behaviors that keep going on and on and on. Are they ours or have they been programmed into us?
Right.
You know, and it's funny because we could, and you and I have talked about this, you can give words, you can throw words out there and you could, that's what therapy does. It's lots of words being exchanged back and forth without a lot of action. And you know, you can manifest all you want. You can listen to Abraham Hicks nonstop or Joe Dispenza or anybody else. But the bottom line is that until we, what was it, greet our subconscious, you know, loop, right? And we're aware of it and we're able to do something in the moment to get rid of it, then it will just keep coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up. It's the same day over and over again.
Yep. So most people aren't aware that they have so much subconscious programming, but you get a clue as to whether it's positive or not based on what kind of life you're living. So if your life's a mess, there's probably a lot of negative and traumatic subconscious information there that needs to be addressed. So we tend to think that we're doomed. There's nothing we can do about it. But the reality is there is. Life can really change. You can experience life so differently by changing what's on a subconscious level.
It's amazing when you change something on a subconscious level and then you start seeing the difference. And it's not quick, it happens slowly and happens, you know, because you still got to kill the, you know, the dragon's in there, you know, so it's still a matter of like killing the dragon, but the dragon feels like it's actually getting weaker on a daily basis, you know, which is really nice. So tell people where they can find you and tell them what you do. You offer a free consultation. You are pretty good at that free consultation. I got to tell you, you hit me really right on, right on.
Yeah.
So tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, the easiest web address to find me at is riseabovetrauma.com. It's easy to remember, riseabovetrauma.com. And I offer a free 15-minute consultation, as you said. And it's for you to get a sense of who I am, but also for me to get a sense of who you are. And I'll give you some idea about where I think we need to put our focus and how to help you reach your goals. Because I'm very intuitive, I do, with people's permission, do a quick reading and get a sense of where we could put some of our initial focus and where the initial blocks are. And I think that helps people get a sense of who I am and how I work. So, you know, my normal sessions are a full hour and they're very intense. So they're very efficient hours. And the good news is that because this work is so efficient, people don't keep coming to work with me for a long period of time like traditional therapy. A lot of people are happy, you know, within a few sessions, and the average is about 4. I encourage people to give this a try because, if you really want to change your life, don't assume that there isn't an answer, because there is one.
Awesome. I love it. I highly recommend it. And you've got his info right there. And I appreciate you coming on. Ron, let's reconnect via email tomorrow, because I want to find out your experience, because I promised I would do some coaching with you. And I want to find out your experience that you did with those videos that you did. So yeah, I'm real curious to hear about that. And I'm going to go post this tonight so people can contact and reach out to you. And I appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
Hey, thank you so much, David.
You're welcome. I'm going to end it here. For the rest of you, check out Ron and give this a thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys watching and listening. And this is a modality I think all of you should try. I'll see you all soon in the next one.